We're going to go ahead and try the Shiran now. There's 3 wines from Shiran. We're going to start with the trio. The trio is made up of Carignan, Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot, 3 interesting varietals. Let's go ahead, give this a swirl, and see what we get.
So this is a very interesting blend, actually. I think that if you have, grapevines that are showing really nicely and you blend it together like Shiran, Eli Shiran, the winemakers, are a real cool lab rat. So he makes really cool blends. And I learned today also that he's a lawyer, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I learned that as well. So all you lawyers out there, you gotta grab some of his wine and share a little common thread. But what do you think about the wine, Josh?
That's very yummy. It's very tasty. It's actually refreshing, crisp on the palate. The balancing acidity, really nice. Actually, off camera, I just had a bite to eat, and this is really emphasizing that like it's a food-friendly wine. It's really yummy. I think I've never had this before. I'm really impressed with it. It's really working for me, actually. All the different flavors. It's got nice balance. It's got very coherent wine from beginning to end. Shiran's very talented.
I love the acid.
Yeah, oh wow. Yeah, and it's working with we had just greasy fruit too, so it's really
yeah, it's really, like it's highlighting it.
Right, and refreshing. I mean, it's like, yeah.
It's funny that you use the word refreshing for a red wine,
I know,
but it's actually refreshing.
Right. Well, it's like you get that with like a lot of Italian wine. People don't think of it this way. Certain regions, like in Italy, like they've been making wine forever, right? So they know part of their style is a higher acidity across the board generally than you get in other European French or certainly American style wines. And it's because wine there is the lifeblood of the table, right? And it's part of the Mediterranean thing. In Israel, it's similar, slightly Eastern Mediterranean, slightly different, but it ought to be part of the thing, right? And this does it. It's really nice. It works so that even though it's a red, it's very refreshing, nice crisp flavors, and it's just working with that food. I'd say, sitting down with Jerusalem mix or something like that would be fabulous.
You have shawarma on this would be awesome.
And what I find interesting about this is like Carignan, Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot. I've never had a wine comprised of those 3 varietals.
They normally don't exist.
It's unique, it's fun, it's different, it's interesting. Also, I'm getting just a very nice, pleasant palate. I got a bit of, I don't know if it's like sweet strawberry or like maybe even towards candy.
Maraschino cherries?
On the mid palate there. So very lovely wine. I've tasted all these wines before, so I know I love them all. But tasting this with you guys,
it's going to sound crazy, but I think if I blind tasted this, kind of just like you were saying, Josh, like home was going to Italy, I would almost go Sangio on this. Because like, the acid is super high, and like it has like a lot of red fruit character on it. Right. And by the way, I watched your article on Italy just so, I did read it, I love it. So, but yeah, I would almost like call this like the Sangiovese if I tasted it blind, because it has such nice red fruit and such high acid.
Fantastic blend. We're gonna go ahead and try the others. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and try the Shiran Conductor. The Conductor. It's Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot. Let's go ahead and give this a try.
See, I'm getting a lot of this one, a lot more of Israeli notes, like notes of a riper fruit, notes of more fruit-forward wine, notes of oak, almost like a sweet oak note to it, which is something that I get in a lot of Israeli wines. So I'm not going to use the word typical, even though I just said the word typical. I'm not going to use the word typical. But it is more of an Israeli wine that I would almost, if we're talking about calling blindly, I would call this as an Israeli wine.
Yeah, very punchy. You're getting like a lot of burst in there, a lot of like. I get the acid in there, but it's also like just even the fruit. It's not your like your sweet red fruit. It's more like a bit of a sourness, maybe either more ripe or. It's interesting. It's very different than the one we tried before. But if you were pairing this with food, you'd probably want to try with more like maybe it's like spaghetti and meatballs with a tomato sauce. Maybe not. I don't know. What do you guys say?
I'd probably stick with hunks of red meat, but maybe that's just
you can never go wrong.
You never go wrong with meat. That's
you could go with chicken also if you roasted it long enough and have
it depends on prep.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe like a deep vegetable chicken where it has like enough depth to it. But yeah, meat.
Now, on an interesting note, so even though it does have that kind of seriously ripe, typical, but it's really quality. It's not too sweet at the back end. You sometimes get that with really ripe fruit. Because it's so ripe, you end up with kind of a sweet quality to it. Not a sweet like sweet wine, but sweet as in just when you get ripe or overripe fruit, it kind of has that almost bursting out of the skin kind of quality to it. And this doesn't have that. Too much. It's not over the top. So it's clearly Israeli, and he's working with Israeli fruit. Obviously, as are they all, but more of what we come to expect. But I think he's done a nice job of kind of keeping it in check in a way that works overall with the style. So this is probably a little more middle ground for someone who likes more traditional Israeli kind of in your face. It gives some of that, but with a little bit more finesse and a little bit more restraint for folks who are a little more old world or want the kind of newer Eastern Mediterranean
stuff. So I think this can satisfy both your old world fans and your new world.
Yeah, I think it'll deliver for both. It's nice.
Very nice try. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try the Soprano after this. All right, we're gonna go ahead and try the third wine in the Shiran series, the Shiran Soprano. It's 85% Grenache, 50% Petit Syrah. I've had this wine before, but let's go ahead and try it. I actually really like this one.
I really enjoy it. This is really nice, actually. This has a something that you don't get a lot in red wines. Maybe it's just because I'm getting it on mine. I almost got like a grassiness to it. Like there's like almost like a hay or a grass, like a note of. Sometimes I'll call that as like a floral note. But this isn't floral. Like it's like.
So I'm not getting any of the kind of grassy thing. They're not quite floral, but more of that end of the spectrum than grass. But there is a definite
different though.
Yeah, it's a distinct and different note. But
smell of spring.
Inviting.
Smell of spring is nice. Okay, I like that.
I'll go with that.
I hope it springs soon. It's been too cold for too long.
I'll go with that. But it's an enticing smell.
Yeah,
it's drawing me in. Yeah,
it's trying to get you to figure out what is that? What am I smelling? It's so different. It's so unique. So yeah, I happen to like that a lot. Also, I think this might have been the first Grenache that we tried today. So in terms of all the Israeli wines, Grenache being something that you would think would do well in Israel because it's a hot climate grape and Israel's a hot climate. And this actually showcasing it pretty nicely.
Yeah, it's actually it's doing very well.
Yeah.
This is really nice. It's got some of the classic components you'd expect from Grenache in this area, and again, you actually get that kind of refreshing quality. Again, it's you don't think of reds in quite that way typically, but it's there. So even though it's got a nice body to it, medium, relatively full in the mouth, but not heavy. It is refreshing in that my palate, once I'm done, my palate wants more. I don't need a breather. I don't need to kind of pause. There's nothing that's kind of, you sometimes get from some places in Israel wines that kind of have a slightly stunned quality, where it kind of hits your palate and enjoyable, but you kind of have to take a break, right? Take a breather. And this isn't bad. This has got just much more elegance and finesse in that way. And I think it's a testament to Eli Shiran. It's very nice.
And I think what you get on the Grenache here also, besides what exactly Joshua was saying, there's a lot of nice Grenache notes at the end of the wine.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's nice long finish.
And some cinnamon and a little bit of like a white pepper, like a nice spice, like an inviting warm spice. Like something you get like a tea that you would drink in the fall that has some like spice to it. It's inviting, it's really nice.
Mm. All right, good stuff. So just to wrap up the Shiran series of the Trio, Soprano, and Conductor. We actually tried it in the Trio, Conductor, Soprano. Ari, what's your favorite? Are you still happy? We'll go to Josh then. Josh, what's your favorite?
So I'd say they're very different styles. To me, it's a toss-up between the Trio and the Soprano.
You pick one up at the other.
I'll go with Trio, I guess. But very nice. Across the board, they're lovely ones.
Soprano. I liked it. It was really good.
So I'm a little bit partial because I really started with the Soprano, and those were the first bottles that I opened here and tried and enjoyed, and I really loved it, and kind of a little bit biased towards that, but I really love the way the trio tasted today. The conductor as well, to me, was pleasant. If I had to go with one, probably the trio again. We just had food, we just ate, so it probably went really well with what we had. But again, I love these wines in general. I love how they're different. I also love Ellie's a great guy.
Yeah.
Just like we had dinner at his home, we tried these wines, we had a great evening. He showed us a great time, and I couldn't be happier to have this series here. So.
Great job, Ellie.